Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I always thought I had a great life, a good job, a loving wife, and a family that got along better than most. Mia and I had been married for 8 years, and I truly believed we were solid. She was beautiful, charming, and had a warmth that drew people in. My brother, Jack, especially, seemed to adore her. But I never thought much of it. In fact, I was happy they got along so well. At family gatherings, they were always laughing, sharing jokes, or talking about things that went right over my head. I chalked it up to them having similar senses of humor. Honestly, it felt nice to know that my wife and brother were close. The cracks started showing a few months ago, but they were subtle. Mia began going out more often, claiming she was meeting her friends for dinner or drinks. She started dressing up more than usual for these nights out. Heels, a dress that hugged her figure, and just the right amount of makeup to turn heads. "You look amazing," I'd say as she grabbed her purse. She'd smile, almost sheepishly. "Thanks, Robert. Don't wait up, okay?" But that wasn't the only change in her behavior. She was on her phone constantly, giggling at messages or smiling at something on the screen. When I'd ask what was so funny, she'd brush it off. "Oh, just the girls," she'd say. I didn't press. I trusted Mia. Why wouldn't I? Then came the night that changed everything. I had plans to meet some friends at a local bar, and Mia was heading out with her friends again. We kissed goodbye and I told her to have fun. She said the same, flashing me that radiant smile I fell in love with. A couple of hours into my night, I ran into her friend Lisa at the bar. We'd known each other for years, so I waved her over. "Hey, Lisa," I said. "It's been a while." Lisa smiled warmly. "Hey, Robert, yeah, it has. How's it going?" "Good, good," I replied casually. "I'm just here with some friends. What about you?" "Same here," she said. "By the way, give my greetings to Mia. It's been a while since we last met." "Oh, really?" I said, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah," Lisa continued, sipping her drink. "It's been, 3 weeks since our last get-together?" She said she's been busy lately. That comment hit me like a ton of bricks. 3 weeks? That couldn't be right. Mia had been going out with her friends regularly, including tonight. I felt a wave of panic rising, but I forced myself to stay calm and play along. The last thing I needed was for Lisa to sense something was off and potentially warn Mia. "Yeah, Mia's been really busy this period with work and everything," I said, keeping my tone light and casual, as if her words hadn't just turned my world upside down. Lisa nodded, unaware of the storm brewing in my head. "Makes sense. Work can be crazy sometimes. Hopefully we'll get together again soon. We always have fun when Mia joins us." "Absolutely," I said with a forced smile. I'm sure she'd love that. But inside, my mind was spinning. If Lisa hadn't seen Mia in weeks, then who had my wife been meeting on these nights out? When I got home that night, she wasn't back yet. I sat on the couch staring at the clock, the minutes dragging by like hours. My thoughts raced in every direction, the conversation with Lisa playing on a loop in my head. I kept telling myself there had to be some kind of misunderstanding. But deep down, a seed of doubt had already taken root. Finally, the sound of her car pulling into the driveway broke the silence. A moment later, Mia walked through the door, her heels clicking softly against the floor as she set her purse down. She looked radiant, cheeks flushed, her hair slightly tousled as if she'd been caught in the wind. But there was something else. A faint smell of perfume, expensive and unfamiliar, hung in the air around her. "Hey," she said casually, flashing me a quick smile. "Hey," I replied, studying her closely. Every detail seemed magnified. The curve of her lips, the way she avoided holding my gaze for too long, the small smudge of lipstick near the corner of her mouth. "How was your night?" I asked, forcing my voice to sound normal, conversational. "Great," she said, a little too brightly. "The girls and I had a blast. Lisa was hilarious as usual." Her words twisted in my stomach like a knife. I knew she was lying. "Glad to hear it," I said, pasting a smile on my face. "What did you guys do?" "Oh, just the usual," she said, waving her hand dismissively. "Dinner, a few drinks, lots of catching up. Nothing too exciting." I nodded, pretending to believe her, but my heart was pounding so hard I thought she might hear it. "Sounds fun," I managed to say. "Yeah," she replied, stifling a yawn. "I'm exhausted, though. I think I'll head to bed." "Good idea," I said, watching her as she disappeared down the hallway. That night, as she slept, I lay awake beside her, my mind churning with questions. Where had she really been? Who was she with? And most importantly, why was she lying to me? I glanced at her phone on the nightstand, hesitating for a moment before I made up my mind. I had never invaded her privacy before, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was horribly wrong. My hands trembled as I picked up her phone and unlocked it. Her messages were the first place I looked, and it didn't take long to find what I was looking for. There it was, a thread of text between Mia and Jack, my brother. My stomach turned as I scrolled through their conversation. "Can't stop thinking about earlier tonight. You looked incredible," Jack wrote. "I miss you already," Mia responded. "Wish we could have stayed longer." Each message felt like a dagger to my chest. My breathing grew shallow as I scrolled further, unable to stop myself. "Same time next week?" Jack asked. "Of course. I'll make something up for Robert again," Mia replied. "Think Robert suspects anything?" "Not a chance. He's so trusting. It's kind of cute, actually." The texts became more explicit as I read on. Details of their meetups, what they had done together, and plans for future encounters. "Your idea about sneaking away at that party was risky but so worth it," Jack texted. "I know," Mia replied. "The way you looked at me all night made it impossible to resist." My hands shook violently as I put the phone down. My heart was racing, and I felt like I might be sick. This couldn't be real. Mia, the woman I had loved and trusted for 8 years, and Jack, my own brother, had been sneaking around behind my back. I stared at her as she slept peacefully beside me, completely unaware of the storm raging inside me. A million thoughts ran through my mind. Anger, betrayal, sadness. I wanted to shake her awake and demand answers, but I knew I needed more than just words, something concrete that couldn't be explained away. The next day I started following her. I needed undeniable proof. That evening, Mia left the house dressed to the nines, looking as stunning as ever. She claimed she was meeting Lisa again, the same excuse she always used when she went out. I watched as she got into her car, pulling out of the driveway. I waited a few minutes before following at a distance, keeping my car far enough behind that she wouldn't notice me. My heart pounded with every turn she took, my mind spinning with thoughts of what I was about to confirm. I had already seen enough to know, but the fear of seeing it all in front of me, solid, undeniable, was almost too much to bear. She didn't head toward the usual spots, no familiar bars or places she'd gone with her friends. Instead, she pulled into the parking lot of a small, upscale restaurant on the edge of town, a place I knew was far too intimate for a casual dinner with friends. I parked a few cars down the street, just far enough to remain hidden but close enough to see everything clearly. My hands gripped the steering wheel as I forced myself to stay calm. My breath caught in my throat when I saw him. Jack, standing outside the restaurant, grinning like a fool, clearly waiting for her. When Mia stepped out of her car, they embraced, a quick hug, but it lingered just a little too long, a little too intimate. My heart skipped a beat, but then they kissed, slowly, passionately, as if the world around them didn't exist. My mind raced as my stomach twisted in knots. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. It was as though the entire world had slowed down in that moment. The kiss wasn't a simple greeting. It was a confirmation, a statement. I watched, helpless, as they pulled away from each other, their smiles wide and full of something I had never seen between them before. They didn't even care who saw. I snapped photo after photo, my hands shaking as I captured every moment. I was disgusted, sickened, but I couldn't stop. I needed to have evidence. The photos were my only way of confronting them, of exposing the truth, but it wasn't over. After what seemed like an eternity, they finally made their way into the restaurant. I stayed in my car, waiting for what felt like hours. But eventually they emerged again, their faces glowing with satisfaction. They had finished dinner, but I could feel the tension mounting in my chest. This wasn't just a dinner between two people who had a secret. This was more. They didn't just drive home. After dinner, Mia followed Jack's car as he led the way to a hotel on the outskirts of town, an expensive place with a reputation for discretion. I parked across the street, my hands trembling as I took more photos, each shot, each frame, adding more weight to the truth I hadn't wanted to face. Mia and Jack both got out of their cars, laughing softly together. The same laughter I had heard too many times at family gatherings, now tainted with a sinister edge. They walked into the hotel side by side without even looking back. I kept snapping photos, each one more damning than the last. My heart ached with betrayal, but I couldn't stop. I needed the proof, the undeniable evidence that would rip their lies wide open. As they vanished inside, a heavy weight settled over me. I couldn't bring myself to follow them any longer. The truth was right in front of me now, undeniable and crushing. How could I even begin to confront them? But I didn't act immediately. I needed time to process everything, to plan what I would say. I decided to wait for the right moment, one that would have the most impact. The next family gathering seemed like the perfect time. When the day arrived, I acted like everything was normal. I greeted Jack with a smile, hugged Mia, and chatted with my parents as if nothing was wrong. My heart raced under the facade, but I kept my cool, determined to hold off until the perfect moment. After dinner, as everyone relaxed in the living room, I stood up, my hands shaking slightly. I could feel the weight of what I was about to do pressing down on me. My family sat back, watching me, unaware of the storm I was about to unleash. "Hey, everyone," I said, my voice steady but tense as I held up my phone. "I have something to share." "What is it?" my dad asked, smiling, clearly in a good mood. I took a deep breath and connected my phone to the TV. The small screen wouldn't do these photos justice. My fingers hovered over the screen as I carefully pulled up the images. I turned to face my family, my heart pounding in my chest. "It's about Mia and Jack." The room went completely silent. Jack's face instantly paled, his eyes widening in shock as I hit play on the photos. "What the hell is this?" he asked, his voice cracking, his hands starting to shake as he tried to reach for the TV remote. I didn't let him. "This is what you've been up to behind my back," I said, my tone cold as ice. The photos were crystal clear, Mia and Jack kissing outside a restaurant, followed by images of them entering a hotel. I made sure to let the pictures linger, one after the other, so there was no mistaking what they were seeing. This can't be right," Jack stammered, his voice full of panic. "Robert, Don't even try," I cut him off, glaring at him with disgust. "You were my brother, Jack, my brother, and you've been lying to me, betraying me all this time." My voice shook with rage, but I couldn't hold it in anymore. "How could you do this to me?" Jack swallowed hard, his face turning red as he looked at me, then at Mia, then back at me. "I never meant for it to go this far. I swear I never thought—" "Don't tell me you didn't think, Jack," I shouted. "You've been sneaking around behind my back making me look like a fool. Don't you dare sit there and tell me you didn't think." My mom gasped, her hand flying to her mouth as she looked from Jack to Mia. "Is this true?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Mia's sobs filled the room, but she couldn't meet my eyes. I turned to her, my anger boiling over. "And you lied to me over and over again, Mia. You destroyed our marriage. You let me believe you were out with your friends, but all along you were with him." I gestured to Jack, unable to hide the hurt in my voice. "For what? Him?" I spat the word like venom. Mia didn't say anything at first. She just cried, her body shaking. But when she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "I'm sorry, Robert. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't know how to stop." "You didn't know how to stop?" I repeated, my voice rising. "You didn't know how to stop lying? How to stop betraying me? This whole time I trusted you." My voice cracked, and the words felt like they were tearing me apart. "I gave you everything, and you threw it away for him." "Robert, please," Mia started, but I held up my hand, cutting her off. "Save it, Mia," I said, my voice shaking with fury. "Don't even try to make excuses. You've ruined everything. All this time I've been a fool, thinking you were someone I could trust. But you've shown me who you really are." The aftermath was chaos. My parents were furious with Jack, and Mia tried to apologize, but it was too late. I told her I was filing for divorce and that she needed to move out immediately. As for Jack, I cut him out of my life completely. My parents sided with me, and he became a pariah in the family. It wasn't easy, but in time, I started to heal. I surrounded myself with people who truly cared about me and focused on rebuilding my life. The betrayal hurt, but it taught me something valuable. I deserve honesty, respect, and love, and I won't settle for anything less. Thank you for watching.